Hello and welcome Internet to another Starcraft 2 broadcast. This time I am very excited to bring you a best of 3 match series between WhiteRa, the beast from the east, spawning as the red Protoss in the top left position, against Nerchio, spawning as the blue Zerg in the top right here on Shakura's Plateau. So we can expect to see some air harassment here, or at least I hope so, here on a map that's kind of geared towards a more macro-oriented style of play. WhiteRa is fairly well known for being able to handle his early units extremely well. This can translate into some aggression. Nerchio, he could open up with the hatch first if he's feeling confident. It is certainly, I wouldn't say easy to defend your expansion on this map, but it's a lot more simple than, say, on some others with only have a one ramp right here, and of course immediate access to your main. Likewise, WhiteRa with the probe here, okay, so he's not going to be dropping the pylon down at the natural, is dropping it in the main, so he's not going to be doing a forge fast expand. Really, that's all we know at this point. Of course, we'll be watching to see the timings of his gateway, and continuing on forward in the game, also watching Nerchio to see if he decides to go with extractor, pool, or hatch first. Of course, he's approaching 14 supply right now, so I feel like at this point, watching the minerals, not going to have the metabolic boost going for that right off the bat here, which pretty much leaves us with the drone heading out right now, running at around 200 minerals or so. Oh, dropping that down into a pool first. Okay, well that's fine. Pool first can actually lend itself kind of well to particularly anti-air. If you're able to get out your queens first and earlier, you can drop that expansion and be able to fend off what could be potential aerial harassment from WhiteRa. Also, you see up here with them both spawning at the top like this, it would be a very short travel distance for Phoenix, Void Rays, etc. And Nerchio coming up, spotting his opponent, knows that he's going to be scouting on the direct right location there. He's going to come up, he's going to see gas, gateway, pretty much the things that you would expect to see so far. All he really can discern is that we're not having a force fast expand. And also, WhiteRa not going for a second gas before the cybernetics core. We are, of course, going to be seeing that go down right now. And likewise, deciding to go ahead and drop his own expansion right here. Looking good. No gas just yet. Again, probably not looking to be too aggressive with the Zerglings to start out. The fact that he's not going to have that metabolic boost means that he has to be a little bit careful for him. You don't want to commit too far since you're not going to be able to really run back and pull out of a dicey situation without that speed increase. We do have that extractor going down now, so that'll work out well. We'll expect to see what that gas comes to in the meantime. He may decide to get some roaches for defense. Of course, with WhiteRa not going for his own expansion, I feel like he would be in a good position to go for some type of harassment technique. We do also have that pylon warping in here at the top of the ramp for WhiteRa. Likewise, with this pylon placement down here, choosing the time that he did to place that, I think it's pretty good. It'll also provide him a nice forward position to warping units. Of course, that Zergling going to get taken out right there, not able to run back in time. WhiteRa moving out with the probe and the zealot. Could be looking to put on some pressure here. I don't know. We do have warp gate technology, currently around 20% complete. And also, Zerglings running around, continuing to scout out for Nerchio. You see that WhiteRa's base is not really that defended by any sort of choke points or anything like that. We do have one Stalker here. Nice micro by WhiteRa. As we continue to watch WhiteRa actually move in with his probe and zealot, continuing towards the natural, where he's going to scout out that spine crawler going down as well as the queen. So a couple of different attacks going on different points on the map. Nerchio heading over to scout. WhiteRa's base is going to spot that pylon and the expansion while maintaining this nice queen micro, keeping the zealot nice and busy until those zealots can actually get out. Yes, I definitely just said bitty because I'm amazing like that. But Nerchio is the real guy who's amazing here, holding off that attack without really losing much of anything. Couple drones were very low. That's about it. We can actually just look at the units all so far and see ticking up ever so slowly there, just Zerglings getting picked off here and there. But for the most part, things are relatively quiet. So with WhiteRa continuing on with his expansion, it's about 75% complete. Nerchio is doing exactly what he should be doing right now, droning up. He's got 6 on the way, the metabolic boost. He wants to be able to use those Zerglings now for harassment. Of course, he is kind of extending himself up here, seeing if he can pop in. Basically wants to get an idea of what's going to be used in the wall. Is it a forge? Is it maybe a Stargate plopped around somewhere back here? But no, he sees a couple additional gateways, which is fine. Already, WhiteRa does have a nice little block off here, 2 sentries and a stalker. We could just look at the units tab. That's not the units tab. I is very close to you, by the way, just a little spoiler alert. You can see a couple Zerglings. That's about it. So again, Zerg really not looking to project any force. Instead, he knows that the Protoss player is going to be sitting in a defensive position for a while he builds up his infrastructure, gets the probes going, so he's dropping his 3rd expansion. One thing I do want to point out, WhiteRa does have this probe up here in the southeastern corner. So if he decides to put on any pressure, he's going to be able to place a nice warp in position, which actually, we see him putting that right there. I was actually watching the minimap. We see a couple of Zerglings looking around. Again, we do have one Zealot deciding to take the place of the Stalker. I believe actually there was an Overlord up there. That's what he was trying to get. But for now, continuous scouting by Nerchio, doing a great job with that. You see he's got Zerglings littered all around the map, plus both watchtowers. So WhiteRa, very fortunately for him, does have this probe already parked way over here, and a couple Zealots. Oh man, look at that Zergling. He's going to be giving away the position. The probe is rather of that pylon. Oh, Nerchio knows what's going on here. You can see he is swarming down there. Queen already on the way, definitely committing to holding this expansion. Will WhiteRa be able to take it out now that the forces have been found? You see, he is trying to reinforce there in the middle of the field, bringing over some additional forces, hopefully to take down this expansion. But so far, the bodies are piling up. Just looking at the resources lost, we could see Zerg 500, Protoss 350, APM right now 131 to 251. So Nerchio definitely trying to stay on top of the ball here, keeping his things in working order. A bunch of Zerglings on the way, hoping to again try to get there as quickly as possible. We can see that for the Protoss player does have access to the ramp with force fields, so he's very close to that. This expansion will definitely fall. Sure enough, there we go with 1 egg, all that remains of this force. Is he going to let that actually pop up here? This poor Roach is going to, his brief existence will be, pretty much showing up in the face of about 5 Zealots there. But look at this, man. We have the Zealots coming over, or the Zerglings from the counterattack, trying to bust up WhiteRa's base. Will he be able to actually get in there? I think he will. You see the force fields blocking off one entry, leaving another one completely vulnerable. And now, with those Zerglings in the base, it is not looking good for WhiteRa. You can see he is now supply blocked, looking to put the pressure over here at the natural. Will he be able to, though? With all these Zealots here in the front, only a couple of them streaming in, you see they're not really able to come in and do any serious damage. All the while, WhiteRa losing all of his probes at the natural. This is a terrible position for him to be in right now. You see, even with these Zealots warping in, the Zerglings are going to continue to run around here and now in the main base. Look at the probe kill count so far, 20 to 0. WhiteRa still not able to bust up this ramp. Roaches and the Queen's able to hold off. You see, he barely does not have enough for another transfuse. Definitely one of those Roaches could be using it here. But with more Zerglings on the way, hoping to quickly rush over and reinforce this attack. Look at this now. All the probes are gone for WhiteRa. 37 killed so far. 2 Zerglings even alive after all that. Nerchio pushing forward now across the middle of the field. More Zerglings on the way. Again, checking for expansions, checking for pylons, anything that he can do to make sure this fight stays over here. With WhiteRa now on major, super, ultra, mega defensive mode. Cramming words together. I'm so excited here to see how WhiteRa handles this. I mean, with this pressure in play, this pylon getting taken down, WhiteRa is in a very undesirable position here. He's got to build up his probes again, he's got to make good use of that chrono boost. You see he is riding the bottom of the barrel. He's even continuing to get gas with that one probe, despite the fact that how little he has in terms of mineral income right now. Look at this, 280, 10 to 39. I mean, this is really looking like it's just going to be a steamroll for Nerchio here, since that counterattack produced such fantastic results. I cannot believe how effective that actually was. But WhiteRa, I guess he just was not expecting that run by with those Zerglings. We see here he has definitely learned his lesson. Throwing down force fields, not quite nailing it. Oh man, that is really, really going to hurt him in his defense here. He only had enough energy for a very small amount of force fields. He needed to land those perfectly. Unfortunately for him, the loss or the misplacement of that is going to let those Zerglings come up and start doing a lot of damage to these structures, putting on some additional pressure, pretty much immediately knocking off the shields in this pylon, which will open up another point of entry here. We can spot he does have enough energy for one more force field, I do believe, maybe 2 here, depending on how time goes, but it's only a matter of time, because you see with these sentries going down, the Roaches busting up the Zealots, which are really the only thing that WhiteRa can afford at this point, and no counterattack able to be done by WhiteRa. It's just a matter of time before we see him fall. I feel like it was a very well-played game, but Nerchio just completely in command of that fight. You know, that Zealot run by was just absolutely spectacular. That is what did it more than anything. That plus the fact that WhiteRa tried to force that counterattack there once his base was infiltrated, not having any success. You know, he could have pulled those back and maybe mitigated some of the loss there, turned it a little bit differently. But, oh man, the probe damage was already done. WhiteRa taking a loss already in this best of 3 match series, bringing Nerchio up 1-0. Let's go on to game number 2 and see what happens next.